Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Yachting Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and today I'm really pleased to introduce Jess and Will. They are from WorldTowning, very famous YouTubers with 35.8 thousand subscribers. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
No, thanks for coming on board Yachting International Radio. Now, the reason you came to my attention was because you guys, you started actually 6 years ago, but you started off just traveling, and you were, the reason it's called WorldTowning is you were going from hometown to hometown to hometown and actually experiencing life as it was in those little towns. But recently you bought yourselves 3 months ago a catamaran and have decided to become liveaboards. Take me back to the decision to go traveling in the first place.
It was the best of times and the worst of times. No, I'm just kidding. But
you're going to start off cheesy.
we were living in Boston once upon a time, and we always had the bug that we wanted to travel for the longest time. And you know, I worked for companies that had positions that were global, and sort of the idea of living in another office in another sort of city as an expat, be it Madrid or London or wherever the case may be, was always an option, and something that Jessica and I always were curious to explore. And the companies I worked for always said, yes, you guys can go. And this is talking back as early as like 2007. I mean, this is a long time ago.
We were definitely not an overnight success story where we decided to travel, sold everything, and 6 months later we were on the road.
Right. But we decided that we wanted to pursue these opportunities. But as our family grew, meaning that we had kids, the price tag to send us to another location became a lot higher for these companies, and they conveniently found other people who can fill these opportunities in other locations, and we always got sort of the short end of the stick, so to speak. And as we continued to wait for the best opportunity to show up, we eventually just said we had enough.
We said we had enough, and we said, I guess we're going to kind of have to give up in this dream. Maybe we'll go for a summer, and that will be the compromise, because how crazy would that be to just go on our own without income? Like, who would do that? Not responsible people, right? So we spent a summer in Paris, and long story short, it was a very difficult summer. A lot went wrong. We had to we were really tight on money, but we came back from that summer and said, this was the most marvelous summer, even with everything that went wrong. Our kids grew. We grew as a couple. We grew as a family. Their relationship got tighter. We saw them really thriving in just roaming around the streets of Paris. And we said, and we loved living the minimalist lifestyle, which was so freeing. And we came back and we said, you know what? We can do this. I mean, other people have done this. We can figure this out. So how are we going to do this on our own? So we came back and we gave ourselves 12 months to sell all of our stuff, figure out how to homeschool, figure out medical insurance, figure out how we would do the income portion of it, and started the transition. And 13 months from the month that we set a 12-month deadline, we launched to move to Costa Rica. And we were not unhappy in our life. We had a great life in Boston. We had a great community. We loved the kids' school. We loved the work we did. But that calling for travel had been there since our son was in my belly, and we just had to answer it. It had just come to the point where we could not wait any longer. And we knew this was something we needed to do. And so we took off for Costa Rica.
And we realized essentially, no, that if we didn't do it now, because, you know, our kids, when we decided to go in 2014, our daughter was our eldest daughter. She was 9 years old and our son was 6 years old. And you hit a point sometimes with kids that if you don't do things when they're easily adjustable, meaning that, you know, they can see this as their new normal, as opposed to saying, what did I leave behind? Things may become a little more challenging in terms of an adjustment period.
It doesn't mean that it can't be done, because we work with people who become full-time travelers all the time as consultants. And people have done it with kids of all ages. The transition is just easier the younger they are. They're, like Will said, they're easy. It's easier for them to kind of see this new normal. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. And we felt that really knocking on our door, like now is the time we have to go. We can't wait around for this expat package. It's been 7 years. It hasn't happened. we're just going to do it. We're going to make it happen. And so we left the United States. He left his corporate job. I kept my design business because I was already working remotely, and we took off for Costa Rica. And 1 year turned into 6 years later. Here we are sitting on a boat in France, not knowing how to sail.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about your story is that right now, and I think a lot of it was sort of pushed forward by COVID and the pandemic, but yacht owners are now looking to live aboard. We are seeing that more and more of them, and actually you guys fit the new demo of the ultra high net worth. You do. 48 years old is the average. They've been married for 10 years. They've got 3 children on average. But they are now looking to get into either an expedition yacht, or they are looking to live aboard. When they make that transition, they want to be able to go out for 3-4 months at a time. They want to homeschool. Their kids are going to be on board with them.
I'm sorry, but that statement right there.
I love that stat.
Actually, I'm the other way around. I'm selling the boat. That's it.
You don't want to do what everyone else is doing.
The moment I become ordinary is the moment that I say, get me off this thing.
I don't know about Europe, but we had heard a couple months ago that the yacht sales were up 20% in the US. Do you have any stats like globally or in Europe?
Yeah, Europe is not as high, but yes, in the States for sure, boat sales are up. Actually, I think is almost as much as 50%, to be honest.
Wow.
Yacht charters as well. And that is the reason, is that the pandemic, most of these people, they work very hard. They're CEOs, generally speaking, and they work very, very hard. They don't want to give up their vacation time. They want to spend that time with their family, but they don't want to be spending it at home where they can be reached to do everything that a CEO does on a daily basis, of course. So the idea, and because we are capable of remote working nowadays, and everyone's doing it, of course, we didn't have a choice.
Right.
The ability for them to go out on a yacht and to do this remote working and to spend that time with their family and to be isolated. Sure, you've got your crew. In most cases, these people will have a full crew. They'll have their chef, they'll have their chief stew, they'll have, their deckhands, etc. But it is isolation. It's the epitome of isolation. I mean, those yachts are kept sparkling clean, and they are able to be with their families and able to keep their families safe while traveling the world into remote spots where nobody else has gone before. So this is the going trend. And, in learning that you guys had taken, because the last little while you guys were in an RV, and then you decided to take this new route and go on board on the sea. What was that like for you? What made that decision for you? Why were you thinking, did you get tired of the RV? Did you get tired of the driving? Was it that you wanted to just try something new?
Well, you want me to take this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
We can tag team it. We always knew we wanted to be on a boat. We started looking at boats when we were living a stationary life back in Boston, 10 years ago. The plan was not to get on a boat for a couple more years, like maybe 1 to 3 years, because we wanted to have more land traveling before we got on the boat, because we realized once we were on the boat, it would be very rare that we would take it out, put it on the hard and go traveling on land again for 6 months, because then we'd be paying to store it and whatnot. So we kind of wanted to get some serious more land travel under our belt. And when we were done with RVing, we sold the RV, and the plan was to spend a year in Asia, and we would spend a month in 12 different countries.
And we were so excited for Asia.
We were so excited.
It was like, because, okay, so you live in Europe, but you live probably in one of the warmest climates in Europe that you can find because you're smart. For us, when we were in the RV, we were not very smart, and we just wound up chasing spring the entire time. Because if you have a goal like we did to go see every single country in Europe, you have to sort of knock off Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and you don't go there in the winter, you go there during the summer. And to do that, you have to sacrificing in Greece and in Sicily during the summer when it's absolutely spectacular. So we constantly were in this climate of, it's kind of cold, but that's okay, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime, and so we're doing it. And we did it.
And now we're going to Asia.
And we're going to reward ourselves with going to Southeast Asia.
All the winter clothing, it's all gone. The boots, the jackets, the hats. It's in a friend's storage. And if it's worn out, it's going to the trash can. And we got there, and we hit our first country, Japan. And
COVID hit.
We spent 5 months in Japan. And so we loved Japan. Japan was wonderful. The virus was handled well. The numbers were low. Everyone wore their masks. So it was not a problem. We were quite happy to be there and grateful for people's generosity that we were there with. However, our Asian adventure was not to go there.
It was cut short.
And we didn't want to go there and just spend 5 or 6 months in 2 countries and then come back. So
and we were bouncing up against the our end of our Japanese visa because we couldn't stay there forever. And we had 2 choices. We can either go to the US, which is where we're passport holders, or we can go back to France because we have a long stay visa for France as sort of our quote unquote European hub. And we thought to ourselves, well, let's try France again, because we had this idea in the back of our head that we wanted to buy like a chateau, not chateau, but like a house,
more like a ruin,
like in France, to sort of redo and sort of give our kids like this massive project that they can get their hands dirty on, and
learn some new skills,
so forth and so on. And then when we got to France, a listing came across Jessica's Facebook feed.
I've been, part of sailing, boating, for sale by owner Facebook groups for a couple of years, but I never really looked at anything serious. And honestly, I was the one who was least on board for getting on the boat anytime soon, because I was like, we have to read 100 books. We have to be completely trained. We need to know every boat that's out there. Like I wanted to know everything that we could possibly know before we got on the boat. But this boat came across our feed and I saw it and I knew enough. I'm not going to say I know a lot, but I knew enough about catamarans that this appeared to be an incredibly good deal. And I thought, well, there's got to be something wrong with it. And I read and read and read. And then I called some people that I know and some catamaran dealers, and I gave all the stats and all the details. And they said, Jessica, if you don't buy this, I'm going to have you buy it for me. And I'm going to hire someone to sail it across the Atlantic. And then I'm going to sell it for 30% more than what you paid for it. And I was like, whoa. And this was multiple people had nothing to gain from this. We came to look at it and we knew this was perfect. And,
long story short, we bought the first boat we ever saw.
Yeah. We'd seen a couple over the years, like at boat shows and stuff. And we did do a comparison of one other boat in Spain, but we bought this boat. We knew it was a good deal. When you buy a boat, everyone knows you often have to fly to different places to look at them, assess them, do surveys. Sometimes it doesn't work out and you end up spending all this money to fly. This one was in France where we already were. It came with 6 months of a boat slip paid. And we could tell the previous owners had taken care of it really well. We still did the survey and all that stuff and the sea trial and everything was fine. But we just knew that if we did not jump on this with COVID, second, third, fourth, whatever round coming, that we would not be on a boat for years to come. And we just knew this. With countries closed, we could find the perfect boat in Thailand, but you can't get into Thailand right now. So we did all the necessary things. It was still a very good boat. The survey came in that it was worth about $30,000 more than we paid for it. The previous owner was ready to be, it was a 2-year adventure. They were ready to be done. And they sold us a boat that's in amazing condition, fully loaded, like came with bikes and cutlery and linens and everything. Wow. All the tools, everything you could imagine. And so it was meant to be. It was, like I said, it was always in the back of our head to get on a boat. We didn't think it would happen this quick. There was a little bit of, wow, it's going to happen this fast. Are we ready? We haven't read all the books. But from Will and I, that we've been doing this traveling thing for 6 years now, we didn't know how to full-time travel. We didn't know how to run a business online and work remotely. We didn't know how to homeschool. We learned all these things. And, it's been hard. There definitely, our life on land and stationary life is clearly much easier, much more fluid, much more efficient, but definitely not as fulfilling. And like anything else, honestly, we're in the trenches right now. So I can't tell you how it's going to work out, but from history of our traveling and our lifestyle, it always works out. We just got to put in the hard work and learn.
It's fascinating because you speak as if we've been now sailing for years. and I think as sort of things will reveal itself in a few seconds, I think people realize that we have not even gone off the dock yet.
We went off the dock. We went off the dock for the sea trial.
We're so wonderful. We're such great sailors. We have no idea.
I was coming across like I was saying we're great sailors. No, no, but I know like Will says, if someone else can learn it, so can we, and we've got a lot to learn. and we're doing the proper stuff. We're like having sailing classes, obviously, once COVID is over. We've got insurance, we've got all the safety gear. We're reading books now. We have plenty of time. We've almost completed our online theory course.
So we basically bought our fixer-upper house, except for it's on water, and it's
fixed.
and it's fixed.
It just doesn't come with our knowledge.
If you just
Right.
Yeah. So you know what though? I mean, the interesting thing is, I had an interview with another liveaboard couple just a couple of days ago, and they were saying that they wish that, because he had been a sailor and they had met traveling as well, and he had been a sailor for many years and she hadn't. She was just a traveler. So what they found was, when they got on their boat, she was delegated literally, the traditional female roles, not because she was female, but because he knew how to do all the things on a yacht. And it was much easier for him to just do them than to sit there and teach her how to do them as they were sailing. And there was a bit of a resentment that sort of came with that. She said she wished that they had learned how to do everything from the beginning together, so that they could each have that possibility of, he could cook one day while she captained the boat. He could be cleaning the galley while, she dealt with the sails, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I like it. They're like hopeless romantics. I like that.
I like that too. I mean, because we started traveling full time together, there's never kind of been like pink and blue jobs, or this is yours and this is mine. I mean, certain things have kind of become one's responsibility because they're more passionate about, like Will is really passionate about the Wi-Fi and updating all of our apps and all that stuff and making sure things are charged. If it wasn't for Will, nothing would ever be charged or taken care of. I'm a very, very, I don't know if I'm passionate, I guess I'm passionate about it, but I'm the one who handles all the emails with the clients and kind of getting to the deeper story and kind of digging through what their stories are and where their struggles are. And then we come together and meet with them. So I think our jobs are definitely divided too. That's interesting. That's an interesting how they started out. Because I often think, oh, this would be so much easier if one of us already knew how to do this and the other one could just learn. But I wonder, do you learn, or do you just say, okay, they know what they're doing and we need to eat and the kids need to be educated. So I guess I'll do that, whether it's a male or female role, whichever one. The female could very easily been the one with the skills as well.
What we're finding challenging though is because we have two kids who are able-bodied. We have now a 16 and a 13-year-old, fully capable of accomplishing, anything if they put their mind to it. And
often better than us.
Right, because they don't get frustrated like we do. But the idea is now trying to incorporate them into the learning process. Now, when we take our sailing classes, they're going to be, fully on board, and they're going to be, our daughter's going to be able to get accredited when we do our sailing lessons, because she's 16 years old. So, she will be a 100% participant. But the idea is, like, not just learning how to sail, but learning how to fix things and so forth and so on. So when we do tackle these projects that need to be tackled, because being on a boat is not just sailing, it's also sort of learning how to maintain the boat. It's trying to get the kids that they can sort of accomplish everything that we want to accomplish as well. And I think that for us is the biggest task, because we're not just trying to go ahead and get them learning how to sail and be on a boat, but they're also homeschoolers, so right. they have their own sort of set of agendas that they have to accomplish as well. And I think there's a line that we sometimes have to figure out what makes sense and doesn't make sense.
And we've slowly kind of broken, I don't know if we've slowly broken them in, but for RV life, they had responsibilities within the RV. They've learned a lot over the years of responsibilities, but now we're taking it to the next level, because there's a lot of things that kids or teenagers can learn on boats, even little kids, that can really be beneficial for them as they become adults. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's finding the balance, which is going to be really challenging. Like, can they do this? Can they not do this? Can they fix can they fix the head, or do we need to do it? Or do we need to hire someone, which is something we're dealing with right now? Or what skill set do they bring to the table? And what I've found so far is, when I tell them we have a problem and ask them to kind of try and solve it, they'll Google, they'll watch some YouTube videos, and they usually come back with an answer or something pretty good, or a pretty good way to solve the problem, which is really amazing. Because this is kind of what we had hoped for when we decided, okay, we can't really stay in Asia. What's next? And we talked about having a project, because like Will said, we're not the type of people that would do well after 6 years of traveling to be in lockdown in an apartment. From a mental standpoint, we'd probably also kill each other, because that would be a very, very drastic change. So when we said, okay, we're going to do the house remodel, or the boat came up, it was to what, at their age, what can be of great benefit to them. How can they get their hands dirty? Because as homeschoolers, there is a traditional part of their education where they're sitting in front of a computer, not all day, but a lot of the day. So we wanted to really get them out, learning another skill and working with their hands. And, it's kind of too early right now to tell how that's working out, because we've only been on the boat for a couple months and we haven't left the dock. But I'm optimistic that we're going to get there. Like, well, I'm optimistic that point will come and they'll actually be able to do stuff and learn.
Where is your first port of call when you are managing to be able to leave the dock?
Any place out of here.
No.
Here is not bad.
We have a place in mind.
We do have a place.
We will be going to an area. I mean, because clearly our first place will not be anything too adventurous. We're not going to sort of sail from here to the Azores, but it would. I think we're going to go to Yacht, which is like by Porquerolles. It's an area to the east of us, essentially between here where we are near Montpellier and Nice. There's a 3-island chain, Porquerolles Islands, and our idea is to go there because we used to live in that town, which is right there. And we have a lot of friends who would love to sort of see our new home.
Yeah, and it feels like our European home. So we'll go there, hang out for maybe a month or two, see friends, do some sailing around the islands. And our ultimate goal is to be in Greece for summer. We've been to Greece before. However, it was winter and we barely left the RV. We kind of hunkered down and built actually another part of our business, our group trips, while we were in Greece that winter. And so to sail around the islands and then sail back through the Med and make a crossing to the Caribbean next November or December with crew. Anyone listening here, we'll bring on some more experienced people, because at that point won't even be a full year with our experience. So we need to take people with us who know what they're doing. And then the big time goal is to circumnavigate. But in no rush at all. Our daughter has 2 years left with us, so we'd love to get to French Polynesia, and our son has 5 years left with us. So we're not on any type of dead run. Our life has felt very fast up until we got the boat, so we kind of want to take it a little bit slower.
Would you recommend this to other people out there? If people are thinking, they're sort of on the edge of, should we live aboard? Should we buy that yacht and sail off into the sunset? As opposed, and I asked this question the other day as well, the sailing off into the sunset, we generally think about that as when somebody has finally quit their high-flying New York office job, their CEO job, they're 65, they've retired, and they sail off into the sunset. We're seeing that obviously younger and younger age demographics are deciding to say, you know what, I ain't waiting until I'm 65, I'm going to do that now. Would you recommend that to others?
Okay, so I'm gonna caveat this by saying,
you're talking to two people who basically threw everything out the window to go ahead and sort of experience life on a more authentic level in the first place. I don't think.
So I think our obvious answer would be yes.
Right.
Now, I guess the reasoning behind that, and we have to caveat that by saying, obviously, we haven't left the dock yet. We still have to learn to sail. But like I said earlier, history has proven that we can do it, and if someone else can do it, so can we. I don't know why you would wait for any of this stuff, unless there's some sort of any dream that you want to do, unless there's some sort of someone who's depending on you, maybe with a medical condition that you can't leave. Obviously, there are circumstances, but if it's just kind of because of fear, I think the more powerful thing in life is regret. And so to get at that point, and there will be a point in life, when you can't, when they put you in the box or sprinkle you over the ocean, that you can't go and do these things. So I guess my question would be, but why are you not doing this? Why are you not? And let's just rope it in with sailing, because that's what we're talking about here. Why would you not go do this? I can't understand why anyone wouldn't want to if it was a dream of theirs. And we're in our 40s, and Will just turned 50. We're not 21, so this is definitely, the learning takes a little bit longer, and things are a little bit harder, and we get tired compared to even when we started traveling 6 years ago. But if we look at that and we say, well, what's the alternative? Do we wait until, because we're working and we're schooling, so we're not just out here vacating, gallivanting around. What is the alternative? To wait until we're 70? Will we both still be here? Will we both have our faculties about it? Will we have the energy? Will we have the desire to learn? And clearly, I mean, if someone's watching this and they're 70, thinking, oh my God, I can't go. No, go. If you want to go, go. Don't wait till you're 80, right? But I don't see any need for no reason why someone wouldn't do something that they're dreaming about. I guess I'm kind of the idealist in the sense that things always work out. And this is coming from two people who gave up lucrative careers to start traveling, and it worked out. And then we started a business, and it was really starting to grow after, we talked about this, after couple of years of struggling, and COVID hit and completely wiped out our business. And it will be back once COVID is over and once people are traveling again, because we host group trips and people still want to travel. It's been a really hard year for us. And if I can sit here and still say it was worth it, even Will and I will go for a walk at night and we'll say, you know what, it's really hard right now. Times are hard. Money's tight. We have to kind of tighten the belt even more. But I'm still so glad we did it, because what would the alternative be? Would we be living our stationary life wishing we would have? Would we become bitter and, ugly because other people are doing it? And why didn't we do it? We could have done it too. So long story short is, I don't know why people wouldn't do it. Like, I think there's someone we love, another traveler, has said, but your old life is always there. Yeah. So if it doesn't work out, you just go back to it. It's not, you go back. You may not have the same house or the same job, but you can go back. No one's closing those doors and saying you can't come back. Did you have something?
No, you said it perfect. I was just going to sort of enhance what you said. I like to think that sort of everyone aspires to a certain lifestyle. There's no reason why one should not aspire. The question is, what's holding you back? And if there's one thing that we've learned throughout our journey, especially because we've yet to set sort of off and launch on the boat yet, but we did in the RV. And being in the RV, we saw a lot of other travelers, people in the retirements of their career. And they, you could see that they were enjoying themselves by kicking back on their lawn chairs and sort of enjoying a glass of wine at 2:00 and taking a nap and so forth and so on. But you can tell that at that point, energy levels are not the same. And, you have to make a choice. Do you aspire for the super comfortable retirement and with the ability to maybe do what you want to do, or do you do it now and say, I'll find a way? And, you just have to sort of come to that decision and be comfortable with that decision, because you only have one life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? There's no point in going any further, because you've just said it all very well. If anybody wants to question you further in regards to your experiences, are you open to them sending you an email?
Yes. We love hearing from people. We do our best to respond to comments on all social media. We don't always get to all comments on social media. However, if you send us an email, jessica@worldtowning.com, I always respond. It may take me a couple weeks, but I always respond. And if for some reason I don't, and it got deleted by accident or something, send me another one. We
and
love.
She answers everything pretty much.
I do. I do.
I edit the videos and she responds to all this stuff.
I think when you live a lifestyle like this, community is so incredibly important. We've made great friends through social media, through emails. We've been able to meet up with other travelers. We've met up with locals. People have been so kind to us. The sailing community is fabulous. They have been so good to us. We've asked questions on Facebook groups. People have offered assistance on our YouTube channel saying, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's not safe, or this or that. And it's really been amazingly welcoming. And so we've been soaking it all in like there's no tomorrow. I mean, it's funny because when we were traveling via other means, whether it's by Airbnb or by RV, we never had anyone say, oh, by the way, you may want to get this sort of for your boat. And it's not that, we wanted we were soliciting feedback or not, but it just didn't come because it just didn't come. It didn't have the community, the sailing community.
But the sailing community is so involved in trying to help each other out. And it's, it's really heartwarming. Because,
and I think that's many of the reasons that we're committed to responding to people is because you pay it forward. And even back to when we just first started traveling, there weren't many people out there. There weren't many resources, but the people that were mentors to us were really incredibly generous. And we have that philosophy in life now that we pay it forward. Obviously, we have a consulting business where we teach people about the logistics of full-time travel, and we have group trips, so we don't give that stuff away for free. But if someone emails us and says, hey, we're thinking about getting this boat, what don't you like about it, and stuff like that, we don't charge for that kind of stuff. Like we return the emails, people asking us what's the best Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff, because this whole process of traveling is a pay it forward. And the reality of it is, I don't say it's the reality, but we want more of you guys out here. It greatly enriches the world, how people see the world, our future, your future, the next generation is going to be the people that are really going to make the difference in the world. And the more people that come out here and bring their kids out and bring their grandkids out or bring their partner out and kind of open their mind and see that the world is good and people are good, the more we all benefit from it.
And we're realizing, though, after 6 years, even just now, sort of thinking, we got this. We're on a boat and we're like, well, we don't have this. And so, there's a lot to learn. And, there's no way we can get comfortable anywhere, any way at this point. But, we're up to the adventure.
But isn't that the great thing about life, right? We don't want to hit that point where we're not learning anymore. And, just like it will, and I feel like we take 5 steps ahead and we're like, oh, we learned this about the head. We can do this. The next time this happens, we're going to be able to clean it and fix it. And then what happens? Something happens to the electric head. And we're like, oh boy, we don't know electric heads. Okay, let's just watch the guy do it. And now we'll know for next time. But isn't that great? I feel so alive when we learn something new and we're like, oh, I got that. I can do that now. And sometimes we go through those points in our life where there's years where like, I just feel like I'm just treading water. No, not with sailing. You're learning every single day. And that's part of the beauty of it. Like another reason I would sell the lifestyle, even though we're not off the dock. So we'll have to do like a recap video once we're off, once we're off the dock. You can say, okay, how do you feel now? What's different? Because right now, it really does feel a bit overwhelming.
Well, after
it feels
you take
like
your first trip and get back to your hometown in France, you'll have to get a hold of me and we will do a follow-up and see how your first journey was.
That'd be excellent.
Right. And we might at that point be like, okay, it's still pretty hard. Or we might be like, okay, we were kind of feeling like it's evened out a bit. And I think for us, it may be a little more challenging than other people who maybe are taking like a 1 or 2 year sabbatical and are not working or not homeschooling. I think it's really important to mention that we're kind of doing all these things at the same time. So it might sound like overwhelming for someone listening to it, but if you're taking a 1 or 2 year sabbatical or you have grown kids, it's going to be a lot smoother, than having to kind of juggle all these things at once.
Yeah. Well, we're going to make sure to provide all of your information underneath this interview when it airs, and of course, WorldTowning. It is YouTube, and definitely I recommend going over. There's a ton of great videos. You guys do a video every single week?
Every Friday.
Every Friday. Because you get to see their travels over the last 6 years. And it's really interesting. I've managed to watch a couple. I've been full out right now, but I do tend to watch these things over time. So I'm going to spend a bit more time watching some more videos and see where your travels have taken you, because it's really interesting. It's good to see when you can't travel, such as myself at the moment. I'm not saying forever, but my goal is to eat my way around the world. But it's nice to be able to see other people that are doing the traveling, and sometimes maybe that's all it takes to light the fire strong enough to make the move.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. And I like the eating your way around the world part too. I'm a foodie.
Yeah, people know me now. I mean, I won't do anything unless there's food involved. So, that's sort of
that's the one thing that we were missing out in Asia, though, because when we were now that we're back in Europe, but for the last 4 years that we've been in Europe, so forth and so on, spice is not a thing here. And so when we were cut short in Asia, the idea of actually missing out on Thailand and Indonesia, and we're just like, oh, please.
I know, it was so hard because
right?
we're going back to the land where they think pepper is a spice. Oh no!
And we hit the one Asian country that has like the least spice, which is Japan. So we're just like, no fair.
Thailand is my first port of call when I finally can go on a vacation. That is the very first. Thai food is my favorite food on the face of the planet. That is my
Ours
first
too.
place.
and
First
Mexican
place.
food.
We
Yes.
love it. We absolutely love it. Will, honestly, I think I saw tears coming out of Will's eyes as we were leaving Japan because he's like, but what about Thailand? What about Thailand?
Let's meet up in Thailand. Once you guys get that
Yes. I think
that's a
catamaran
deal.
sailing well, let's meet up in Thailand and we can
I
eat
love
our way
that.
around Thailand. How's that?
I love it.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys again for your time. It's really appreciated. And I hope that you get that head fixed because that really sounds exciting to me. We will keep in touch. We'll follow your journey. Once again, head over to WorldTowning on YouTube, 35.8 thousand subscribers. This has been Jess and Will coming to us from France on their new catamaran.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
No, thank you. Thanks, and thank you to the audience for tuning in. My name is Ria. I've been your host. Please tune in again for another episode.